Nizer Spencer, WTMJ News.
This week, cardinals from around the world will vote on who could become the next pope. The chimney where the white smoke will appear once a decision has been made has been put in place, and ABC's James Longman at the Vatican says other preparations have been made as well.
The security around the Vatican is getting tighter, including at Santa Marta, the residence where the cardinals will stay for the duration of this conclave. Each one of their rooms is being swept now by security, inspected, the windows sealed. There'll be no communication, so that means they're not going to have any internet devices, any TV, any radio, all of that cut off.
It's unclear how long the process will take. It's expected that cardinals will cast multiple ballots inside the Sistine Chapel. President Trump wants the historic Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary to be reopened and expanded. In a Truth Social post over the weekend, he said Alcatraz will house America's most ruthless and violent offenders, adding that it'll serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice. Alcatraz served as a prison from 1934 to 1963. It's now a museum. Trump administration set to begin collecting defaulted government student loan payments starting today. The government can now take payment from borrowers, tax refunds, wages, or send the debt to collections. Author and MarketWatch assistant manager and managing editor Jillian Berman recommends borrowers in default reach out for resolution on their loans.
For most people, the best thing to do is going to be to contact something called the default resolution group, and they will, sort of give you your options to help you get out of default.
The Department of Education says 5 million borrowers are in default after not making payment of their government student loans for at least 90 days. The sex crimes trial of Sean Diddy Combs getting underway today with jury selection. He's facing life in prison on a number of charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering. Prosecutors allege the star rapper threatened and coerced women for his sexual desires. Defense lawyers expected to argue that Combs had consensual relationships. Biggest night in fashion is almost here. Met Gala returns to New York tonight, and this year's theme is all about honoring Black fashion and identity. Ashley Brooks, chair of the fashion department at Mount Mary University, tells WTMJ.
This year's theme is all centered on the Black dandy. So it's all about tailoring. It's all about menswear. It's all about the influence that Black style and Black designers have had on fashion. And that's really important and really revolutionary and really different for this year.
Tonight marks the 76th Met Gala. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Mixed bag on Wall Street. The Dow up 48 points. The Nasdaq down 82. The S&P 500 is off 18. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth. Annex Private Client. Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time 10:04.
The new fractured boulders we now have in stock are really nice. They're squarer and more rectangular in shape, and they're great for building dry-laid retaining walls. They're much easier to deal with, lock together nicely, and you get less gaps. No wet mortar needed. And we've stocked a multitude of colors. You can use them as an accent item to add character to your dry river or creek beds, too. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential. Visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. Our organic mulch is comprised of all trees. Most mulch is made from ground-up pallets, and you don't know what might have been spilled on those pallets. Could be chemicals or who knows what. But not our mulch. We're recycling trees. Many species of hardwoods. Cedar, hemlock, light brown, dark brown, mocha, black, red, gold, and caramel. 7 colors to choose from means a mulch to match any exterior. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential. Visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. Have you been to the Hounds and Tap yet? In Menominee Falls, this state-of-the-art facility and the ultimate hangout for hounds and humans. Grab a drink at the indoor-outdoor tavern, let your dogs hang out. You can even book professional grooming services. From pedicures to full spa treatments. Every day is a play day at the Hounds and Tap. Hang out with your dog and others, or drop your dog off for doggy daycare or doggy boarding services. Check out thehoundsandtap.com. That's thehoundsandtap.com.
Who doesn't need a seasonal wardrobe update? But who has the cash to always keep their wardrobe updated? Ladies, that's why you shop St. Vincent de Paul. Our women's clothing is always a highlight of our stores, and thrift store prices keep the costs low. It allows you to experiment and also find a hidden gem. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Brewers scored 4 runs in the 6th inning to beat the Cubs 4-0 at home. Milwaukee begins the second half of their homestand tonight against the Astros. Meanwhile, a third father-son duo suits up for the Brewers.
4 members of the 2008 Milwaukee Brewers were on hand for Sunday's win over the Cubs. Ricky Weeks and Craig Counsell in the dugouts, Mike Cameron in the stands, and his son Daz.
The 0-1. Daz a liner into right center field. Down for a base hit. Yelich streaking around third. He will score. How about the legacy coming through?
Lane Grindle on the call. Daz used to run around during batting practice with that 2008 team and his father Mike. Now the pair become the third ever father-son duo to suit up for the Brewers. From American Family Field, I'm Dominic Cotroneo.
Take a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We do have a disabled vehicle. It is off left, blocking the shoulder. I-41, US 45 south, about a third of a mile beyond Appleton Avenue. There were a couple of crashes. Those have been cleared off. One, I-94 west at Hawley Road should be clear. Another, Highway 100 North, was closed from West Meineke Avenue to West Center Street because of a crash. That one has been cleared as well. Here's the WTMJ 5-day forecast. After isolated showers early, some afternoon sunshine, highs 53 to 61. Partly cloudy, 45 overnight. Partly cloudy tomorrow, highs in the mid-60s to around 71. Partly sunny, breezy Wednesday, highs 56 to 66. Thursday, sunny, 53 to 62. And Friday, sunny, highs 61 lakeside, 68 inland. 53 in Madison, 56 in Green Bay, 53 in Waukesha, and in Milwaukee, 49 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yes.
Do you think it'll get renamed today?
By the president?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. What's he going to call it? What's he going to call it?
The 5th of May. We speak English in
something
this country.
Original like that? Yes. All right, Matt Smith.
Hi, good morning.
Political director at Channel 12 in Milwaukee.
Margaritas for all?
Margaritas for all.
Well, we could have
Are you a salsa
NAs.
or guac guy?
I love both.
Love both.
I just put
Why
salsa on
choose?
something yesterday. Yeah, I love salsa.
The guac is extra. It's always extra.
You know, my wife's allergic to guac now because of avocado, so it sort of buzz-killed that for me. Yeah, it's a sad thing because I love guac. Remember, when they make it in the restaurant?
No, we're getting started.
Come on.
We're not going down that rabbit hole.
Well,
All right.
you brought it up.
So kind of a Friday news dump. Feels like unless you were in the political world, I'm not going to say it got buried, but in comparison to the previous Friday when Judge Dugan got arrested, this felt like news for people who follow politics, but not necessarily news for people who were just going about their weekend. So Border Czar Tom Homan had... When did he first give that statement? Was it mid-last week? It was Thursday. So let's play a little bit of that.
Your comments on the Wisconsin governor sending directives to state agencies to not comply with ICE and actually stop your deportation efforts.
Wait to see what's coming. Any updates on the military? I meant what I said. You can not support what we're doing. And you can support sanctuary cities. That's what you want to do. But if you cross that line of impediment or knowingly harbor concealing illegal alien, that is a felony. And we're treated as such.
Tough talk.
So the context there being in reaction to the memo that when you were here last week, Matt, we were talking about Governor Evers' memo as guidance to state employees as far as how to react if ICE were to show up, and give people a reminder of what that memo said.
So essentially the governor, through the Department of Administration, issued this guidance to all state employees that said, if ICE agents show up inside a state building, our guidance to you is you first call an attorney. You don't answer your questions. You don't answer their questions. You don't hand over any documents, give them access to any state computers until you first consult that attorney.
And so that seems legal, not a lawyer, but that seems, I think, illegal. And so what happened on Friday, which I was kind of surprised by, and I was then interested to see who was sharing it and who kind of raised alarms about it or not, was Governor Evers released a 3-minute video responding to Homan's statement.
And as disgusted as I am about the continued actions of the Trump administration, I'm not afraid. I've never once been discouraged from doing the right thing, and I will not start today. You know, I swore an oath when I took this office to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin, and to faithfully discharge the duties of this office to the best of my ability. I will never waver from that promise.
So, Matt, what was your interpretation when you saw this video get released on Friday?
So, clearly the Tom Homan comments got a lot of attention, especially the wait and see what happens, right? Because, there's just a lot of people can take that in 7 million different directions. And there have been calls even from some Republican state lawmakers to arrest the governor over this guidance. There's been no indication that anything has actually happened, like any agents have actually been inside state buildings in terms of implementing this. But clearly the governor, in releasing a 3-minute pre-recorded video statement, wanted to get in front of this and wanted to get his side out, just as he did in our interview the week before.
And on Upfront, you interviewed Josh Call, AG, for the state of Wisconsin. Do we have that audio?
I have to say, I'm surprised that this has received as much pushback as it had. As I understand it, the governor has suggested that if ICE comes somewhere, that the state agency should make sure to get their attorneys involved in the process. That's a reasonable thing that I think anybody would suggest in this circumstance. Having attorneys work the process to make sure that things are done lawfully, that the rights of state citizens are protected, because the state government, of course, has a lot of confidential and private data regarding state citizens. That's just common sense. So I think this is an effort to politicize what is really a common sense move from the Evers administration.
So you're comfortable with this guidance?
Yes.
I find myself agreeing with the Attorney General Josh Call, because it seems reasonable, but what we know about politics now, it's not reasonable at all, and everything is sort of accusatory, and anything that pushes back, or at least appears to push back against what this administration, the Trump administration, is trying to do on immigration deportation, is going to be seen as sort of an enemies list. And now, for whatever reason, just a simple statement that the governor made about this question, which I think is perfectly reasonable. You have a right to an attorney. If someone's challenged you with a legal document or an arrest warrant, you have a right to an attorney. But that's the state of affairs that we're in now, where everything's going to be looked at in this political lens. And this administration has shown pretty clearly they're not interested in negotiating these things. They're going to do what they're going to do.
Well, and it's turned into a legal question, or it's going to turn into a legal question. That's why we're curious if the AG is backing this. And I'm sure there have been a ton of lawyers, if they hadn't before it was issued, have now looked at this guidance to make sure that if anything is challenged. And the question is going to be, there have been a lot of Republicans who have said, especially after the Judge Dugan arrest, state employees, watch what you do. Don't follow the governor's advice, because if you do impede, the Trump administration is going to have no appetite for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Judge Dugan's arrest, when we come back, you also spoke to Representative Scott Fitzgerald over the weekend on Upfront. So we'll talk a little bit about what Congress thinks of her arrest after this on Point Taken.
The following takes place in a Capitol heating and cooling truck.
Step on the gas. We need to get to Miss Johnson's house fast.
Roger that, Captain.
We need to get her furnace repaired.
She couldn't believe we do same-day repairs.
Or that Capitol works 7 days a week.
And we'll have her heat back on today.
Same-day repairs?
7 days a week.
Same-day repairs?
7 days a week.
Because it's the right thing to do.
And if you need service right now, get a free heating or plumbing service call with any repair.
Old-fashioned service, you can't go wrong. Call CapitalCares.com.
Hi, I'm Rose Gray with Fox World Travel, and I'm excited to share that our exclusive guided Alaska land and sea journeys are now available for 2026. We partner with Holland America Line to curate the best and most sought-after experiences to Alaska. We send hundreds of travelers from Wisconsin to Alaska every year, along with experienced Fox tour managers for peace of mind. Don't just picture Alaska, live it. We have limited spots, and these tours are booking fast. Visit Fox World Travel online or call 866 Go Fox Go.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Marilyn.
The staff is fabulous. They feel as much like friends as the people that live there. We go to lunch at the cafe, book talk at 1, team trivia at 2, bags at 3, and then it's dinner time. That's a typical Tuesday. Three Pillars, in one word, happiness. It's a gorgeous campus.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
We get it. You're on the go, and life gets in the way. Stay up to date on all things WTMJ with podcasts of every show. Available on WTMJ.com. And don't forget you can stream WTMJ online and watch your favorite WTMJ shows on YouTube. Every show, when you want it, no matter where you are. We are Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620 WTMJ.
Honoring those who dedicate their lives to keeping us safe, WTMJ is highlighting first responders who went above and beyond this past year through Steve Scaffidi's Salute to Service presented by Waterstone Bank. You can nominate your first responder now at WTMJ.com or the WTMJ app. The nomination period is open now through this Friday, May 9th. Finalists will be recognized during Hero Week, May 19th through May 23rd. Help us tell your stories. WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi's Salute to Service, presented by
Waterstone Bank. Yeah, and I need those nominations because next week is interview week because we roll it out the week after with the Heroes Week. So what I need is just tell me the story in a couple paragraphs. Emergency room nurse. I need a dispatcher this year. I don't see any of the nominations that I've looked at so far have dispatchers.
You have like a quota?
I'd like to have a nice mix because then I can make better choices.
So it's not the best story? It's which?
No, it's all of that, all of the above. But I want to make sure we're getting all of the nominations so that I at least have a good. I mean, I've had like 50 last year, and I don't think we're anywhere close to that yet. So get those nominations in. There's a Salute to Service banner right on WTMJ.com. Easy to find. And send me that information. And as I said, we'll start the interviews next week, and we'll roll out those features in Heroes Week, which is, I believe, the 19th of the month. All right. So we went from talking about these sort of the guidance the governor's provided, the reaction of Tom Homan, and now we're looking at another piece to this story, and that has to do with the Hannah Dugan piece. And this is sort of an amazing story as well because we know what happened. We spent a lot of time on Point Taken last week discussing this case, and the week before too. Was it last week or the week before?
It was Friday. You were gone the day that it happened.
Yeah,
you were at the draft.
So the next piece of this story is sort of the interesting piece for me, and I think we have some audio from one of our congressmen in the great state of Wisconsin. That is Fitzgerald.
Scott Fitzgerald on Upfront over the weekend.
Yeah. Was it necessary the way it went down, hauling her out in handcuffs out of the county courthouse?
Yeah, I know the optics were certainly strong, and I think many of my colleagues that have seen it were wondering if it had to be handled that way, but. Not all crime is premeditated, and what Judge Dugan did is outrageous.
Do you see the Judiciary Committee weighing in on the Dugan case at all specifically, or any other case involving judges nationwide right now?
There's been a lot of discussion with Chairman Jordan about that. I don't think anything has really kind of fully developed to the point where Congress would be weighing in on anything specific. But certainly it falls under our purview if there are some things that emerge nationally.
Interesting comment because I'm the one that says Congress has sort of abdicated all the responsibility to the administration. But I guess, for me, the sort of the conversation here is how much of this stuff is going on and how much will continue, at least in the state of Wisconsin, when it comes to these activities.
Yeah, I mean, that is the question. And A, what happens next in this specific case, and B, if any other entities get involved, like Congress, like House Judiciary Committee, which Republicans control, and if they look to further cement what the administration is doing, or potentially put up some roadblocks. I think there's a lot of unanswered questions. And it was interesting, I thought, to hear him say that there were a lot of House members who paused a little bit just in terms of how this arrest went down.
His colleagues,
by the FBI, his Republican colleagues on Capitol Hill. So this clearly has received a lot of attention as the Trump administration wanted it to.
So this is a question, and I feel like her legal team, Judge Dugan's legal team. Have you looked much into this yet? As far as it's a former U.S. solicitor, Paul. Is it Clement or Clemente? Paul Clemente?
Yeah.
And he's a Bush administration guy, right? So this guy is a Republican, and he is on her legal team. Have you looked into much of like who this LeBron James or like all-star legal team
is?
It's
a massive legal team
that
she's
up for her.
Assembled, including some people here in Wisconsin, some people nationally, and I think anyone in the legal world, once they hear these names, like, wow, they're ready to fight. I think they know they have to fight because it doesn't appear that the administration or the government at this point is looking to reach any type of deal, and I don't even know if she would want to if one was presented.
Exactly. And so do you think this is people standing up for the sanctity of the courtroom and the third branch being the judiciary, and like the attraction of some of these lawyers crossing potentially party lines to be on her legal team? Is it something that has more to do with the rule of law? Or do you not know?
Perhaps.
Okay.
I mean, it could be that, right? And I think the appeal of high-profile cases, right?
Okay.
I mean, I think it could be all of the above.
Interesting.
The thing that sort of, we've alluded to this on the show. We've talked about it on the show with Kristin and I. is that Judge Dugan has a history. She's made comments. She's had not illegal actions, but she's certainly said and done things that have not put her career and her public persona, not her judicial persona, in the best possible light. Matter of fact, I can tell you that I've gotten emails and texts from people in the law enforcement community that says she's not a friend of law enforcement at all.
Well, Judge Kumensch said that on
Absolutely.
air. Yeah.
And Judge Kumensch is a colleague of hers and somebody who has also praised her on occasion on other stories and other pieces of her work as a judge. I guess for me, the perspective is one's history always has a part to play in these storylines, right? The context of what you're doing or saying. Do we know anything about where that story goes next from a reporter's perspective? Where is it going next? Like, when is she going to be on trial?
Mid-May is the next hearing, I believe the 15th. Don't quote me on that, but it's mid-May. She has her next hearing. And then the question is, does she request a speedy trial? Does this happen like literally in the next couple of months? Or is this super prolonged? And it depends on obviously defense strategy and what they're looking into and how they're looking to present the case. Obviously, this past week and going into this week, we'll see what happens, but it's kind of, the temperature is lowered a little bit. Obviously, we saw the Supreme Court action, but she was already off the bench. They appointed a reserve judge to come in.
Right.
So I think now there's just kind of a lot of wait and see. And it'll be curious to see how judges across the state and country respond in the days and weeks ahead if they were confronted with a similar situation.
It's interesting that we see these big stories blow up, that the arrest of Judge Dugan and certainly all the conversation about deportations. But I think what people forget, and certainly our audience is probably part of that as well, because everybody wants like instant justice or instant answers. All of these things are going to be tied up in courts for a long time, including some of these things may go out for years based on decisions that this administration is doing that challenge. I don't want to say the status quo, but challenge the way things have always been done in the past. Now, you could also argue on the other side, all of these issues are related to a complete breakdown in our immigration system, our border policy, and these are natural byproducts of the political reaction and probably more importantly, the voter reaction to those stories. So I would caution people, these things are going to take time to flesh out. We're going to be talking about this for a long time.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
Break.
People talking at town halls? Ooh, talk more about that after this.
Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handled all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Jeff Zergabel of Pasternak and Zergabel. Frank Pasternak and I are injury lawyers living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
111 East Kilbourne, Milwaukee. CordellCordell.com. Well, Trina, now you're in charge of ordering food for the office, so meet my mountain of menus.
So, this should be easy.
Easy as pie. You know the mathematical constant for a circle circumference to diameter ratio, pi? It's super complicated.
In that case, I'll be using EasyCater. It's got everything on one simple platform. Tons of restaurants, dietary preferences, even digital receipts.
But my mountain of menus.
How about I order us some pie?
EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
Ready to grow, explore, and shine? Join Girl Scouts with the extended year membership by June 30th and get up to 18 months of fun. Plus, girls starting kindergarten or first grade get 3 awesome activity books and a special gift free. Visit girlscouts.org and join the adventure today.
Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. Find Active Liver at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profile the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes. 16-year-old boy named Tyler Snowden.
I was in my house. I heard screaming. I seen the kid on top of the roof. The house was on fire. So I took a ladder, ran over, put the ladder up, grabbed the 4 kids, and helped the mom down the ladder. I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I just took the ladder and ran.
Everyday hero on Wisconsin's Morning News, presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Points taken on a Monday. Of course, that means Matt Smith, Board Director at Channel 12. And they got some nice awards at the Wisconsin Broadcast Association Gala this week. And as did my teammate, by the way, Kristin Brey, Online Personality Award, which I won a few times. But you deserve that award because you do a way better job than I ever did. So congratulations.
Thank you.
It's just a piece of what you do. You can also see her great work in the Journal Sentinel, including her latest piece on...
I rewrote the lyrics to... Three-Ring Government from Schoolhouse Rock to reflect the one ring that seems to be overpowering the other 2 rings.
And as I said this morning, I think I said a great concept and great writing. All right, so these town hall things that are getting a lot of attention around the country, which is the guest that you had on up front?
Scott Fitzgerald, who was one of the first in the back in January, early February, was one of the representatives across the country who had a town hall, who was maybe taken by surprise.
Yeah, packed room.
The reaction that he got. So he has not had one since.
No, and Republicans, like leadership, said, we maybe suggest you hold off on these in-person town halls based on what we saw in places like Wisconsin.
Exactly. And so you got a chance to ask him about it this weekend.
So you do plan on holding in-person town halls like that again in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's something that comes with the job. It's, when you're at a fever pitch on something like what we're going through right now with the big shakeup in D.C., you just want to make sure that people are respectful and that they're not yelling over the top of their own neighbors as they try to express themselves as well.
I actually agree with Fitz there. I think you should still do these because this idea that you're going to go to a town hall and everyone agrees with you is sort of specious. That's not going to happen. You want some conflict. Now, should you be yelling and shouting at each other? No, that's not productive, and it probably will get your town hall canceled pretty quickly or the doors shut. But I welcome the challenge because obviously he's on the Republican side. He's representing the administration to some degree. He's representing all of us, including the people who didn't vote for him in Congress. These are healthy debates about the policies that are impacting all of us, and probably more important for him, those voters in Wisconsin who maybe even didn't vote for him. I like the answer. Show me something. Are you going to still do them at some sort of a soon to come basis? That's what I would expect from the congressman.
Yeah, it'll be curious to see how these play out with other members of the delegation. And Fitz cited and others have cited security concerns,
which is real.
as a real threat targeting members of Congress. And typically at these, you will see law enforcement.
Yeah.
At this point, in this day and age, so the question is coordinating with law enforcement to ensure that they're also safe for everyone to attend. But yeah, it sounds like he's full speed ahead. We've seen other lawmakers do telephone town halls, Brian Style, Derek Van Orden, Senator Johnson, Senator Baldwin.
Has Tony Weed even done a video one? Has he done anything?
That's a good question. I feel like I may have remembered a telephone, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Because at least
new congressman
in
from
person,
the congressional.
I think it's been Glenn Grothman and Fitz.
Yep.
The other 3 Republicans, has Tom Tiffany had one?
No, I believe telephone.
Okay.
Yeah. And Gwen Moore and Democrat had a couple in person.
Well, and this is now the strategy of Democrats, right? Is trying to show up in other people's districts and have empty chair town halls.
All right, we got a lot more to get to, including some comments from voters, which I'm always fascinated by post-election. We got Matt Smith in studio. We got Connie Weber. Here's now the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Trump administration now says it will pay immigrants who are in the country illegally $1,000 if they return to their home countries voluntarily. The Department of Homeland Security issuing a news release saying it will also pay for travel assistance of people who self-deport. Some hope on the horizon when it comes to massive tariffs on Chinese goods.
China now says it may be open to talks with the U.S., saying it's evaluating ways to start negotiations after the U.S. reached out multiple times. But Beijing insisting Trump's staggering 145% tariffs must be eliminated first.
ABC Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce. New York Senator Chuck Schumer is calling for an inspector general's report on all the troubles at Newark Airport that have been piling up since last week. Hundreds of flights delayed or canceled because of a lack of air traffic controllers. Jury selection underway in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial in New York. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:31. I'm Connie Weber. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration has fined Berglund Construction Company more than $85,000 for a scaffolding incident. OSHA says the company made at least 6 violations when 2 workers needed to be rescued by the Milwaukee Fire Department from the Milwaukee County Courthouse back in October. Nobody hurt. Berglund is contesting all charges. A drunk driver arrested in Mount Pleasant after crashing into a traffic sign. Happened Saturday around 2:30 a.m. near Green Bay Road and Northwestern Avenue. The driver slightly hurt. Mount Pleasant police arrested him for OWI 4th offense. Kohl's back to the drawing board after firing CEO Ashley Buchanan. An internal investigation reveals he violated company policies by directing business to a vendor he's personally involved with. Kohl's board member Michael Bender has been named interim CEO. Here's the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management market update. The Dow up just 2 points, 41,319. The Nasdaq down 101, 17,876. The S&P 500 is down 23 points at 5,662. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. The I-41 south about a third of a mile beyond Appleton Avenue. There was a disabled vehicle off left. That has been cleared. There is another broken down vehicle. This is going to be I-43 north at the ramp from Betcher Street. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Some afternoon sunshine possible. High 53 lakeside, 61 inland, partly cloudy and 45 overnight. Partly cloudy tomorrow, highs in the mid-60s to lower 70s. Partly sunny, breezy on Wednesday, highs 56 to 66. Mostly sunny Thursday, highs 53 lakeside, 62 inland. And Friday, sunshine, highs 61 lakeside, 68 inland. Madison and Waukesha both at 53, 56 in Green Bay, 49 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:33.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. You're lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. For more than 8 years, QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. You heard that right. Non-surgical relief. More than 50,000 patients who had knee pain, back pain, now living pain-free. Those with shoulder and hip pain, it's gone. The regenerative cell therapy restores tissues in your achy joints. Dr. Caravelli's team uses biologic growth factors with robust healing properties carefully and strategically placed in your joint. And there's no surgery. Remember that. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life, repairing the old tissue. Here's what you do. You call today, 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
It is Point Taken on WTMJ on this Monday, Cinco de Mayo. We are talking to Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12. So you guys had a chance to catch up with the bellwether county.
Yeah.
See, I was told that Door County is also a bellwether county.
It was, but they got it wrong.
Yeah, so they got it wrong.
Okay, so now they can't still claim it.
No.
So Sauk County's got like 5 in a row, right?
Yes, and then like broadly 11 of 12,
Yeah.
picking the presidential
Not bad,
winner
not
in Sauk
bad.
County, just outside of Madison. So we went there for a day last week. I was curious, what people were talking about 100 days into the Trump administration,
Yeah.
because like literally it's a 50-50 county. And I don't know how they do it, but they're picking the winners right all the time over there.
How did you pick out who you wanted to talk to?
A lot of it was random. We went to the grocery store. We went and found some small businesses, and we kind of went there without a list of people lined up to interview, because I wanted to find people just everyday
who would be willing to talk.
Just curious, before we play the clip, anyone just say, I'm not doing that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I always love those.
Yeah, they were. They would. The camera is intimidating,
I know,
right?
Yeah.
So they would talk to me off camera. They'd talk my ear off. But there are people who are hesitant, just to talk politics.
Well, especially in
publicly.
that county, right?
Yes.
Because you don't know. It's so 50-50 that in the attempt to be nice to your neighbors and
it's
not
small.
Yes, I would imagine that there's people tread lightly.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what some Sauk County residents had to say.
What do you think of the first 100 days? You happy?
I am.
At the local supermarket, the economy and tariffs seem top of mind.
I would say, the whole tariff thing, I think everybody can sit tight. I'm a firm believer in looking at the big picture, not what's right in front of you. Yeah. So I'm hoping.
Like Lawrence Witter, Gary Fearing voted for President Trump too.
It don't look good right now, but I hope they're going in the right direction, but time will tell.
Do you regret your vote, or are you just a little concerned?
I'm always concerned. When it hits your pocketbook, you're always concerned.
It does highlight the biggest question, right? So how short-term is this pain, or is it a long-term pain when you're talking about gas and groceries issues? Because that was certainly one of the linchpins of the Trump campaign for president.
I mean, right, you look at November, and it was a huge factor on voters' minds, the economy. There's all this other noise out there, but when it comes down to it, it comes down to the economy and what people are feeling in their pocketbooks. And we heard that over and over and over when we were in Sauk County.
So how many people did you end up talking to? Because obviously we heard from Steve right there.
A couple dozen.
And what was it 50-50?
It was mixed. Yeah, it was 50-50. We talked to some small business owners. We talked to a guy who owns the local toy store in town, and he was talking about tariffs and how a lot of his stuff comes from China. So he loaded up to have enough stock for Christmas. And the question is, are people going to be buying at Christmas? I mean, so people are looking to respond in different ways.
If I said to you, would it be a proper way to put this in some context that the Trump supporters are pretty all in on these, as the voter said, they're sit tight?
Yeah.
Sort of talking point.
And you heard her say she's a big Trump supporter, and she said, I hope, right?
Right.
I hope this turns out the way that the Trump administration, the president, has said it will.
This is one of the most interesting questions about all of this. And again, short-term pain, long-term gain. Yeah. How long this lasts and the impact on gas and groceries, because even the most strident Trump supporter, they still have to pay their bills. They still, at the end of the month, have to reconcile, what costs more, what, hopefully what costs less. And at the end of the day, they have to make a decision. Did this actually work out in my favor? Or am I talking about this a year from now, which Bill McCosher would tell me that can't be the reality, because Trump voters will turn on him pretty quickly if they're still paying higher prices. Yeah. Impact on 401k is part of that. Did anyone bring up 401ks on your conversation?
No, it was not specifically, no, which is interesting. I mean, because we did talk to a mix of, younger voters and people older, near retirement or retired. But it all went back to the economy, right?
Like the cost of things?
Yeah, like the cost of things. Like we would, could talk about, obviously people have strong views on immigration, but like what really matters, and maybe it was because we talked to a lot of people outside the grocery store, and we kind of did that on purpose. It's the economy.
Stupid.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, interesting.
Hey, not that young. All right, when we come back, you had a chance to sit down with UW-Madison Chancellor Jennifer Mnuchin on, again, Trump's 100 days. And we all know that there has been a lot of uncertainty for universities, and different universities are handling that in different ways. So we'll talk a little bit more about that with Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12, after this.
We didn't write the headline, the Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
As clutch
of a player to ever play basketball.
It's game time on season 4 of Behind the Bucks on Bucks Plus.
This year, I was like, I need to impose myself more on this team.
Explore Damian Lillard's journey to becoming a top 75 player in NBA history.
That's what really had me feeling like this is going to be great.
Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker, and H&R Benefits Consultant. Find Bucks Plus on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food Store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 48-ounce selected variety Cedar Crust ice cream, $4.49. 13.1 to 16-ounce selected varieties Swanson Hungry Man dinners, 2 for $7. 11 to 18.7-ounce selected varieties Kellogg cereal, 2 for $6. 8 to 15.75-ounce selected varieties Frito-Lay Party Size Lay's, Tostitos Natural, or Tostitos Dip, $3.99.
Attention shoppers, safe.
Okay. Ooh, pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
Hi, I'm Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited, reminding you to double-check your home. Siding Unlimited is the proven exteriors professionals for 31 years. Family-owned and locally operated right here in Wisconsin. Call Siding Unlimited and visit sidingunlimited.com.
Oh, happy Monday, everybody. Cinco de Mayo, as Kristin pointed out earlier. Kristin, Brey, Steve Scaffidi, and Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12 here in Milwaukee, and host of Up Front, which, as I've said many, many times, is one of the best political talk shows and just a forum for some of the newsmakers, game changers, you might want to use that term as well, in politics, in our state and in our country. And you talked to the chancellor at UW, Jennifer Mnookin. Yeah? What did she have on her mind?
There's a lot going on with universities in the Trump administration and these first 100 days, and like this escalating back and forth and feud between some of them. And now, after what we saw with Harvard, the question is, like, how far are these universities looking to push back on the Trump administration, and what will the cause and effect of that be?
Yeah.
I'm curious how you would describe the first 100 days of the Trump administration from your perspective.
Well, it's been certainly a whirlwind, and there have been a number of things that cause us concern. The research we do at UW-Madison is such an incredibly important part of, well, frankly, the Wisconsin economy and innovation and invention. And there are a lot of challenges to the funding for that research, and we are concerned about that. We're very concerned. We're also concerned about academic freedom and the ability of universities to give students transformative experiences and serve our state.
So that's the thing I find interesting, as far as there is the Ivy League schools that I've been reading more about, as far as Yale, and like they have these massive endowments that are trying to change some of their financial situations because they can, because of the money that they have, to weather this storm. Now, did you give a chance we have not covered this story yet, but did you have a chance to talk to the chancellor about this Big Ten schools creating a mutual defense compact like NATO?
UW is voting on that today, actually.
They are? Okay.
Yeah, the UW Faculty Senate voting on that today, whether to join this. It's non-binding, but it's like, all right, should the Big Ten schools all come together and take on the Trump administration. We didn't talk specifically about that, but we talked, about how far from an administrative level, UW is willing to go. She signed on to a letter with other college campus leaders, essentially blasting the Trump administration in what they call a threat to academic freedom. You have conservatives, Republicans will come out and say, well, conservatives have been under attack on college campuses. That's the real threat. So there's a lot going on, and it's going to be curious to see how far UW goes and what the impact of these funding cuts now on research is going to be.
I buy into the conservatives saying that maybe our viewpoint's not being expressed. There's probably some of that's true. But the one thing that really bothers me and sort of boggles my mind is the fact that research into some of the most significant diseases and ailments that we've talked about for decades in this country, maybe longer than that, heart disease, Alzheimer's, dementia in the same realm, diabetes. All of these things are being researched on campuses at some of the highest levels across the spectrum of research on anything. And if we endanger those funds, where's that work going to be done? Private labs? Well, that's a big ask. This is significant work that needs to be done. And who in this room or in this audience, the collective radio audience, hasn't been impacted by all of these things? Heart disease or dementia. It's clearly something that I think should be bipartisan, and I hope that it is. But I'm struggling to see where this administration is going on this piece of this, other than just making this blanket, we're not giving you the money because we don't like what you're saying about conservatives on campus. That maybe I understand. The rest of it doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, I'm the same. When it comes to science, because I think that's where science is not, I would think, not political. Maybe you can make it political, but as far as, like Steve said, as far as how some of these diseases impact all of our lives, like I'll say for us, like I had a cousin who had Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, and he never left Children's, even though he lived to 32, because he wasn't supposed to live past 18. And the only reason we got that many more years with him is because of, in his lifetime, the scientific developments they got for his disease specifically. And there's thousands of stories like that. And and UW-Madison is one of the top research institutions in the country, if not the world. And if you take this money, I don't think that there is the appetite from private companies to pick up the mantle.
Yeah, last year the 6th largest in the country. I mean, UW is no joke in terms of just what
it was a huge deal when we fell out of number 5.
Yes.
During Scott Walker's. I remember that when that was huge news, that for years we were in the top 5 research institutes, and when we fell out of it, it was a big deal.
And I think, to put in perspective, I think last year there was about $1.8 billion in grants that Madison received. Of that 1.8, about $1 billion came from the federal government, just in terms of, so there's a significant funding coming from the federal government for these research institutions.
I know 2 researchers at Madison personally. One used to live with me when I was growing up, and she does a lot of significant work. And the other one has to do with a much more broader topic that's not related to disease. But they're legitimately concerned about their ability to do basic research or even have their funding eliminated completely, which it doesn't seem like a positive to me. And if the effort here is to, and maybe I'm generalizing, to dumb down the population for whatever hell reason you want to do that, I don't think that's a good development. I think it's dangerous. And we need to think longer and harder, including as voters and citizens, that this is the way we want our future to go when it comes to research and probably even more importantly, academics. She's Kristin, I'm Steve. One more segment with Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12. You're listening, of course, to Point Taken on 620 WTMJ.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profile the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes. 16-year-old boy named Tyler Snowden.
I was in my house. I heard screaming. I seen the kid on top of the roof. The house was on fire. So I took a ladder, ran over, put the ladder up, grabbed the 4 kids, and helped the mom down the ladder. I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I just took the ladder and ran.
Everyday hero on Wisconsin's Morning News, presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. How about this? How about going to Hawaii with me? Not just me. How about 50 other listeners? We're going to Hawaii, November of 2026, and I'm inviting all of you to join me, my wife Kathy, Fox World Travel, Rose Gray. We've created an incredible 3-island itinerary, which includes Oahu, the Big Island of Hawaii, and Maui. Yes, Maui. We'll visit Pearl Harbor. Of course, we have to do that. Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, and a really cool Kona coffee plantation, which I'm really excited about. We'll have a luau, of course. We're going to Hawaii. Got to do that. Visit the Maui Aquatic Center. It's an active itinerary, but here's the cool part. We built in free days as well, so you can do your own thing. You can go surf. You can You can suntan. You can drink your Mai Tais or your daiquiris at the pool. Kathy and I would love to have you join us. I know that a bunch of people have already done that. Mike and Patty, Mary and Jeff, thanks for signing up. There's somebody who was signing up this morning when I was talking to Fox World Travel at about 8 a.m. So those sign-ups are continuing, but this is going to sell out, so do not wait. I would call today. We'd love to have you join us. It's going to be a very unique trip. Here's what you got to do. Go to foxworldtravel.com or call, which is the best way to do it, 866-GO-FOX-GO, 866-GO-FOX-GO, or go to my show page, WTMJ.com. Don't miss out on the early booking discount, which is significant. Best of Hawaii with Steve Scaffidi. Call today.
Oh, boy, it's getting so expensive to dine out, but not at the Mine Chef restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Mine Chef is family-owned, understands inflation hurts. Every Monday when you buy one pizza, you get a second pizza absolutely free. Any size, any quantity. You buy one, get one free. Buy two, get two free. Buy 10 pizzas, get 10 free pizzas. Business owners, managers, bring in pizza for your hardworking employees and your key clients. They're going to love it because it's delicious pizza and your second pizza's free, saving your company a ton of money. Bring your family in today for free pizza. Your kids will love that world-class game room. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and near EAA in Oshkosh, just off the interstate. Lots of seating, lots of close parking. No need to cook. Don't think about cleaning today. Mondays can be tough enough. Buy one pizza, get one free at the Mine Shaft. Plenty to take home for tomorrow. Desserts, and I love their desserts, are also buy one, get one free. Just walk in today for your free Monday pizza. MineshaftRestaurant.com.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for USA Insulation. Premium injection foam, filling your walls and saving you money from day one. Jeff and his team at USA Insulation do a full energy audit on your home or business to see where you're losing money. Then they help you score rebates and discounts that can cut the cost of your project in half. Then they get you 0% interest on financing for up to 72 months. It's a home improvement project that actually saves you money. Tell Jeff Vinny sent you to usainsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right, welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey. He is Steve Scaffidi. And on Mondays, we talk to Matt Smith, who is the political director at Channel 12. We didn't get to talk about this much, but we have our first Republican candidate who was announced to run against maybe Tony Evers,
who will be on this
year?
Program at 10:08 tomorrow.
I thought it was 10:35.
10:35, you're correct.
Yep, keeps changing.
Yeah, because he keeps changing these
But yes,
schedules.
Josh Schoeman, thoughts on his announcement? I guess this is not a surprise to you, I imagine?
Not surprising that he's in. I think it's going to be curious to see how many other Republicans join the field, what the governor does, if he's going to run for re-election for a third term or not, and just how big this Republican primary is going to be. And is this going to be
how ugly it's going to get?
Yeah, is this going to be a Trump primary? Is Trump going to dominate Republicans going into next year in the midterms? And what that will do in a critical divided state like Wisconsin. I think the Trump factor is the big question if he endorses, if people seek his endorsement, and how that all plays out.
And knowing Josh a little bit, because he was a guest of my program for a couple of years, I'm sure he would probably accept the Trump endorsement. But I also know Josh is a guy that he gets things done. He's been sort of non-political in the way he's approached that job, even though he certainly has a lot to say about politics in this country. There's so many unknowns.
Yeah.
Will Tony Evers run again? I used to say no, but now I think yes for a third term. Who else is getting in the race? What are some of the names that are being thrown out for Republican nomination for governor?
I mean, Tom Tiffany is considering. That name has been thrown out. Bill Berrien, a businessman here in southeast Wisconsin.
Which nobody knows that name.
No, he's launched a political action committee to kind of explore this. There have been some rumblings about if Eric Hovde would join, who would throw his name in again after running for Senate.
Would he grow the mustache back, do you think?
That's the question, right?
The whiplash?
A/B test that.
I mean, there's probably some state lawmakers.
Rebecca Clayfish?
Who I have not heard her name.
I was going to say, have we heard, what is she doing these days? I know after the last governor's race, she was working on trying to recruit more women Republican candidates.
Yes, and especially for local races, right?
Yeah.
Like think school board or the assembly, so she's still working on that front. I have not heard her name thrown out as a potential candidate for governor. But probably some state lawmakers, perhaps maybe throwing their name in. So it'll be curious to see how big this field is. And then what happens on the Democratic side if we're going to have a primary or if it's going to be the governor.
In your mind, as a reporter, why do you think he announced so early?
Fundraising.
That's what I thought.
To get his name out there, name recognition. I mean, it is, only a year and a half away. So, I mean, you got to get the wheels moving. And you want to soak up some of the oxygen in terms of fundraising and support and get people behind you early.
Always do a look ahead with you. We don't have a ton of time, but what are you looking ahead to covering this week? Possible guests?
Yeah, I mean, I think always keeping an eye on what develops, if there's any new developments with the governor and the Trump administration and how that all plays out this week. We're going to, I think, start to see some rumblings on the state budget in the coming days and weeks where we're getting close to needing something to get done. So Republicans, I know, are working on what their version is going to be. So I think that's going to take up a lot of oxygen once finally we kind of see this public back and forth start to spill out.
Got it.
Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12 in Milwaukee. Always great to talk to you. We'll do it again next Monday.
Sounds good.
She's Kristin. I'm Steve. Lots more to talk about on Point Taken PT. News is next on 620 WTMJ.
Welcome to The Knowledge Brokers, weekly feature covering the dynamics of the insurance market and how it affects Wisconsin businesses and residents. Sponsored by the original knowledge broker, R&R Insurance. Joining us today, Jeff Salazinski, Vice President of Insurance Operations. Jeff, uncertainty is everywhere. So let's talk about how these uncertain times may be impacting decisions in the insurance industry.
Thank you, Vince. Great to be here. Uncertainty is having an impact on many important factors in the insurance industry today. The economic uncertainty post-election remains high, mostly due to tariffs and the economy. Many businesses have slowed capital investments until the economic picture becomes more clear. In our business, many insurance companies got healthy in 2024, yet some continue to struggle. And lastly, we've seen more local brokers sell their business or be sold again for a second or third time.
So, Jeff, for folks listening right now, what's the takeaway from all that?
Uncertainty is unsettling for business. Uncertainty around your insurance agent or broker should be unsettling for you as well. If your agent or broker seems distracted, not engaged, or recently sold his or her business, you're adding even more risk to your business when it's not necessary. A properly designed insurance program has never been more relevant, nor more important than today.
All right, Jeff, so why should a business or a family work with R&R Insurance?
Vince, we're celebrating our 50th year in business this year. Stability matters. Working with the owner matters. There are opportunities in today's insurance market. We know where those opportunities lie to save money and improve your insurance coverage. Because we're not for sale, considering a sale, or in the midst of a sale, we're always focused on you, the client. If you're looking for a better insurance purchasing experience, we'd love to speak with you. At R&R Insurance, we know business insurance.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
Bev Anderson has a big idea she wants to share.
Bev has been here for 24 years.
Hi, Bev. We're anxious to hear your idea.
Kessler's is 45 years old this year. Monica, remember when your dad used to say in every radio ad,
"I'm Richard Kessler, and I want to be your jeweler"?
I never got to hear that.
Yeah, and then Rick would say,
Kessler's Diamonds, inconveniently located on Appleton Avenue, Menominee Falls.
Inconveniently?
Richard said it was inconvenient for people to have to drive all the way to Menominee Falls, so he might as well admit it.
Bev, tell us your idea.
Richard said something else in almost every ad, and I think we should start saying it again because it's really important.
Tell us.
We do diamonds better because diamonds are what we do.
I love that.
Fantastic idea, Bev.
Kessler's Diamonds.
We do diamonds better because diamonds are what we do.
For the location nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
American Family Field gets invaded by the Astros.
Henderson kicks, delivers. Swing and a miss! He struck him out! Got him with a changeup.
The Crew take on the Invaders starting tonight at 6:05 on your home for the Milwaukee Brewers. 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
11 o'clock, we have 50 degrees, some afternoon sunshine today. Highs 53 lakeside, 61 inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. Police shooting in Racine overnight. A man wanted in connection to a domestic violence abuse assault earlier in the day ran from officers, then crashed his vehicle, 17th and Franklin. He got out. They say he raised a gun. He was shot and killed by officers and pronounced dead at the scene. A planned going out of business event at a troubled bar in West Allis ends with injuries.
They're heading for a welfare check. Drunk uncle, male, fell down. We have meds on the way. Apparently he cracked his head open.
Audio courtesy of Broadcastify happened at one last weekend celebration at the Drunk Uncle on Saturday. The bar's owner, Neil Stefik, facing both a defamation lawsuit and the possibility of losing his liquor license. Stefik's been operating the bar without a seller's permit since 2024 after the state revoked it due to unpaid sales tax. The West Allis Common Council voted to not renew the Drunk Uncle's liquor license in March. Catholic cardinals from around the world making final preparations to select a successor to Pope Francis through a secret process known as a conclave. Once the conclave begins Wednesday, the 133 cardinals taking part in the election will remain behind closed doors in the Sistine Chapel until a candidate for Pope receives a 2/3 majority vote. ABC's James Longman at the Vatican has more on a request the late Pope Francis had.
Pope Francis' last gestures was to have his Pope-mobile modified into a mobile health clinic for the people of Gaza. We know how much it touched him, the conflict there. He spoke nearly every day to the Holy Family parish inside Gaza. And so this is his final act to show the world how much he cared about the conflict.
The Archdiocese reacting to a controversial image posted by President Trump over the weekend.
Milwaukee Archbishop Jeffrey Grubb is calling President Trump's AI-generated image of himself as Pope very unfortunate. Speaking to the Journal Sentinel on May 4th, Grubb said the Catholic Church is in a time of mourning after the death of Pope Francis and stressed the importance of respect during moments like these. He added that while an apology would be welcome, quote, the damage has been done, unquote. Grubb says the church is praying for the upcoming papal conclave and for Trump himself as a human person in need of prayer. Nizer Spencer, WTMJ News.
President announced over the weekend he's instructed the Department of Commerce and the U.S. Trade Representative to immediately begin the process of instituting 100% tariffs on movies produced outside the U.S., citing nonspecific national security threats and saying, quote, we want movies made in America again. Newark Liberty Airport continues to experience delays and cancellations. CBS News correspondent Meg Oliver is in New Jersey.
The airport has said the weather is contributing to this problem today. There is some fog in the area, so the FAA, in response, they have issued a ground delay program until 2:59 Eastern Standard Time that basically will space out arrivals and departures to help with the scores of cancellations and delays.
Kohl's back to the drawing board after firing CEO Ashley Buchanan. An internal investigation reveals he violated company policies by directing business to a vendor he's personally involved with. The Milwaukee Business Journal's Timothy Gibbons tells Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News.
The CEO had a relationship with the consultant who this contract is with and did not disclose that to his employer. That consultant has also lost her job because she had not disclosed to the consulting company higher-ups that she had been in a romantic relationship with Buchanan.
Kohl's board member Michael Bender has been named interim CEO. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 93 points, the Nasdaq down 89, the S&P 500 is down 16. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
Your Pell experience starts with a free in-home consultation.
It was a really comfortable kitchen table chat. We knew Pella was going to get it right the first time, and they designed a project with us. They didn't just replace our windows and doors.
There are so many options that are available, so it was nice to have someone narrow those down, and they made sure that the design was what we wanted.
Don't wait. Get 0% financing for up to 6 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 5/31/2025.
Here's to experiencing it all this summer in Wisconsin. Every deliciously cheesy, rockin', magical, fireworks-filled, festival-loving moment. There's Cheese Curd Fest in Ellsworth, Strawberry Fest in Cedarburg, Festival of the Arts in Stevens Point, and the Renaissance Fair in Bristol, Honor the Earth Powwow in Hayward, Mile of Music in Appleton, Venetian Fest, Brat Fest, Summerfest. So many fests for your whole crew. Find them all at travelwisconsin.com.
There's nothing out there close to this.
For those with a warm weather fashion passion, try St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, because that's where you'll find a vast array of men's, women's, girls, and boys' warm weather apparel at the friendliest prices. So many choices, and at such a value. You can fill the closet without draining your wallet. Shop warm weather fashions at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Staying active, essential for overall health. Proper medical support, essential for staying active. WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Whether it's keeping a weekend warrior like me on the tennis court or keeping young athletes in the game, you want the best in sports medicine, that's OAW. Surgeons, nurses, and physical therapists help you recover from injury, avoid injury in the future, and enhance performance. Get care 7 days a week. Walk right in at an Ortho ASAP clinic or book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers scored 4 runs in the 6th inning to beat the Cubs 4-0 at home. Milwaukee begins the second half of their homestand tonight against the Astros. Milwaukee 10-6 at home this season, just 1-2 on the current homestand. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Pretty quiet out there. We do have a disabled vehicle. This is going to be I-43 North at the ramp from Beecher Street. The right shoulder there blocked due to that broken down vehicle. Here's the WTMJ 5-day forecast. After early isolated showers, some afternoon sunshine today. Highs 53 to 61. Partly cloudy overnight with a low of 45. Partly cloudy tomorrow. Highs in the mid-60s to the lower 70s. Partly sunny on Wednesday. A little breezy with highs 56 lakeside up to 66 inland. And Thursday mostly sunny. High 53 to 62. Friday sunshine. Highs in the lower 60s lakeside, upper 60s inland. Madison's at 57. Green Bay 59. Waukesha 53 degrees, and in Milwaukee we're at 50. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:07.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Hello, hello, hello. It is the 11 o'clock hour of Point Taken, and I have very mixed feelings. I feel like we have to talk about this. But the question is, isn't that the point of them doing this, is so that people talk about it?
It's a tough one, right? It's like, look, and I went back and forth on the same question. So what we're talking about, on Donald Trump, the President of the United States Truth Social account, he posted a picture that he didn't create, but someone created, I don't know who it was, of him as the Pope.
So if you have not seen this image yet, if you text 855-616-1620, if you text the word watch, we have the picture that he tweeted out up on our YouTube stream right now. So you can see the picture that was he tweeted out first. Well, he put out first. He Truth Socialed first.
And then the White House official social media account, they shared that post.
So it was not a meme account. It was official accounts sharing this picture of him as the Pope. Because as you might remember, last week when asked about who he thinks should be Pope, his first answer was, I think I'd make a good Pope. And then he went on to mention Cardinal Dolan.
Yeah, so the dilemma we face is it encourages those who always default to Trump derangement instead of just blow us up and say, there you go again. But you know what? Some things are more significant and more important than that.
Well, this is what trolling is, right? It's like you throw things out there that are insignificant or a joke to you to get a reaction out of people. And the choice becomes, what do you react to and what don't you react to?
So the cool part, though, is I'm a Catholic. I have a sort of vested interest in the storyline because, again, the timing of this is horrific. When you lose, and most people consider Timothy Dolan a conservative cardinal from New York. Mm-hmm. He's not like a liberal by any stretch of the imagination. So when you do things like this at the time when the Pope Francis has just passed, and on Wednesday they're going to be starting the conclave in the Sistine Chapel to pick the next Pope, sort of bad timing, no? And just insensitive and stupid, which I think I could use for about 5 different stories related to the president this week, which maybe we'll touch on later. I'm just curious, all those Catholics, I know there's a lot of Catholics in Milwaukee. I see you lining up for those fish fries on Friday during Lent. I know you're out there. What do you think about this? Or is anything this president does, however insensitive or in some cases just cruel, anything goes because it's politics? Is that what we're going with?
Well, it was interesting because even, as we just said, Cardinal Dolan, who Trump hinted that he favors as the next pope, was asked about it. And the quote was, well, it wasn't good.
No. So you
I'm
don't
not
even
sure
have
there's
him.
any official response from any Catholic leadership that has said, it was just a joke. It's fine.
So are we supposed to just accept, because it's the President of the United States, an office I have a lot of respect for, because it's the President, he can just do it and say whatever he wants, even though when it's insensitive and cruel and disrespectful to not only the individual, Pope Francis, who's now buried, and to the process of picking the next pope, which I still think is significant to 1.4 billion Catholics in the world. We're just supposed to leave it aside because, you're just picking on our poor little president. That's Trump derangement syndrome, which is the dumbest, lamest thing I've ever heard.
But
in
I
my
think,
life.
what it is like you can't take a joke. And that's what I think
It's
it comes
not
back
a joke.
to. But that's why they posted it. Like if you pressed on it, it was like, he doesn't seriously think that he could be the Pope. He's not even Catholic, la da 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 da. And the excuses of the post itself is lighten up. Don't take it so seriously.
I wish I could say that he doesn't think he could be Pope, because part of me says, what in his bio and all the things he's said and done over the last, I don't know how many years, gives the idea he wouldn't actually think that he'd be a great Pope. I mean, I could.
Do you think he could name 4 books from the Bible?
No. He doesn't have basic concepts of right and wrong, just to start. And this will make a lot of you crazy, but since I've already started that process by bringing this topic up, I said to somebody the other day, I think on a text, this president might be you-know-what crazy. Like, I'm serious, like, you-know-what crazy. And this type of thing sort of lends itself to that assessment. It's not good, especially at this time.
But I also wonder, we go back to who's in the cabinet, who's in his inner circle, who's running his social media accounts. Because this is not the first move from the White House official social media accounts that has posted some offensive material that is like much more akin to a meme account or like a trolling account that doesn't have a real name tied behind it, let alone the White House account, including an ASMR video of men getting sent to a gulag, right? As far as the chains and the handcuffs and everything, and thinking that was an appropriate thing to post on the official White House. And is that above his pay grade? Not his pay. I mean, is that he is way above that. So as far as, is he even aware of certain things that are getting posted from the White House account is my point.
I have no idea.
Versus is this some young, right-wing influencer type social media savant who's like, this will be hilarious. And he has free reign to do it.
Maybe it's one of the Doge guys. A little bit different when the president posts it versus some, nut job from Rhinelander, Wisconsin, who takes pictures of himself in tactical gear he's bought on the internet, who never served in the military, and then assumes that he knows everything about politics in our world. That's different. This is the president of the United States who should rise above this nonsense, and it's an insult to Catholics. And if you're Catholic, you should be offended by this. Got to take a break. After the break, Dave Spano, CEO of Annex Wealth Management, join us. Lots to talk about. Wage inflation, certainly. This crazy Fed sort of relationship between the aforementioned Donald Trump and Jerome Powell. We'll get to all of that with Kristin and Steve on the Point Taken program right here on 620 WTMJ.
When it rains, it pours. But sometimes it hails. Or worse.
That tornado warning again is for Fond du Lac and Dodge County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now.
Keep us within reach for Fleet Farm Storm Team alerts.
Even if a tornado does not touch down, we know that there are powerful straight line winds.
On 620 WTMJ and WTMJ.com.
Hey, WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi, talking about Heiser Automotive. Love talking about them. Driven our vehicles for 5 years. Love all of them. Cadillac, Chevy, Toyota, Ford, Lincoln. Driving a 2023 Chevy Silverado right now, 1500 LT. Awesome vehicle, as in all of their pre-owned and new vehicles. You know what? You can find them all at Heiser.com or one of 5 great locations across southeastern Wisconsin. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go look at them yourself. There are salespeople ready and willing to help you answer that question. Am I going to walk out of here with a new car today or a pre-owned car? That's one of the questions they can answer. Whether you're going for an oil change, service appointment, body shop work, they can handle all of that New and used, pre-owned. Their team would love to help you get into the vehicle of your dreams, and they make it so easy. That's why they're so good at customer service. Ask them about their great programs, exclusive Safe and Sound, vehicle exchange, roadside assistance for life. One of many reasons why. I love to say it. They say it every day at Heiser. Today's your day.
A Brewers group outing is the best way to celebrate any special occasion. Whether it's a birthday party, anniversary, or bachelor party, baseball is better with a group. Grab your crew of just 15 or more for an event you won't forget. Brewers account reps make your day at the ballpark a breeze. Plus, get set up with customizable tailgate spaces, seating blocks in your favorite location at American Family Field, and much more. Start planning your group outing now at brewers.com/groups.
Ooh, that music can only mean one thing. Dave Spano, CEO and president of Annex Wealth Management, joins us on Mondays. How are you doing today, Dave?
Good, Kristin. How are you?
We are great. All right. Lots of things to cover, per usual.
Yeah.
So let's start with wage inflation. Steve was saying that this is something that you've been writing about lately.
Yeah, we've been talking about it because obviously we want people's income to go up, and we got a wage inflation report, about 3.5%. And you have to look at what's called the real indicator, right? So that really you have to subtract out inflation. So real wages were up 1% more than inflation, which is good. So inflation has come down in big part because of energy prices have come down. And so the real wages are up about 1%, and that is good news.
That is good news.
All right, Dave. So I was listening to Money Talk, and I also read Axiom, your weekly newsletter, which is fantastic. And I encourage people to go sign up and get that because it's sort of like the talking points of the week when it comes to financial planning and certainly what the economy and other sectors are doing. And you were talking about the relationship between Jerome Powell at the Fed and the President of the United States. Describe the relationship and what this means for certainly interest rates going forward.
Yeah, well, there certainly isn't a bromance going on between those two guys.
Good way to describe that, yeah.
Yeah, so, Jerome Powell is the chairman of the Fed, and, he doesn't have the entire decision on lowering rates or raising rates, but his history has been slow to the trigger. And we saw that obviously during COVID, we saw that after that, and they had these emergency interest rate environment in place for a really long time. So they had zero interest rate policy for too long. That heated things up. In a big part, and you and I have talked about this for years, Steve, is that in part created the inflationary environment that we have. And now it appears, at least in Trump's eyes and some economists, that he'll be late to lower rates as well. So right now we have a restrictive policy. And what that means is that they're trying to slow the economy down, right, at, a 5% Fed funds rate, when the economy is suggesting that we probably need a kick in the pants. And you look at, for example, the Treasury rates right now, they are also suggesting that. So if you look at the two pieces of evidence that looking forward, they suggest that you should lower rates. The Fed's problem is they always look in the rear view mirror. And the reason why they do that is they want to base their decision on facts. And I get that. The problem with it is, for example, and I'm not just saying that we are, but if we are in a recession right now, you certainly don't want restrictive interest rate policy in place. And so, obviously we had, well, not obvious, but it looks like a first quarter negative GDP. Mm-hmm. If this quarter stays at negative GDP, then that means we are in a recession right now, which suggests that we should lower interest rates.
Yeah, that's where I was going because I listen to Money Talk and I read what you guys write in Axiom. You guys feel like this is the time where we should be cutting those interest rates. And I guess if you do that, what do you think will happen next?
If you do that, you'll probably get an acceleration of the economy, and that's really what we're trying to do right now. I mean, in fact, you look at where the stock market is, and then you can't turn anywhere in the press and see that the stock market's getting crushed and all these things. But this is what I'll challenge you to, and I'll challenge your listeners to say, how do you think the market has performed since April 2nd?
I just read this.
Is that Liberation
It's actually
Day?
been up. It's been up like 9 days. The S&P has been up for like 9 days in a row, right?
9 days in a row, and it's exactly back to where it was when the Liberation Day or whatever it was called started. So on April 2nd, if you look at what the S&P 500 was, which was about 5,700 today, we're just short of 5,700. So it's flat since then, right?
Yeah.
So that all of that consternation has been put to the side to some extent. And to me, the market is a better liberator, a better litigator and a better arbiter than some of the press, right? And so if you look at that as an arbiter, the market's saying, we think we can look past this already. And so if you look into the future, to answer a long way to answer your question, Steve, if we can look past this and interest rates come back down and you get through the tariffs, the market is setting itself up for a better second half.
If we get through the tariffs, when's the expiration date on the stay on that?
Pause.
The pause?
Yeah. So let's talk through that. So right now there's the two buckets, Kristin, right?
Yep.
There's the tariffs that, the 10% tariffs, which are creating revenue right now. There's no doubt. We see that coming into the Treasury already. And then there's the other bucket, the negotiation bucket. And, even as of this morning, and, you got to discount some of this, right? But they're saying they have, a dozen to a dozen and a half countries that they're going to get closer with to try to get a deal done. And you have to look at, what countries are there and are they really going to get to, but if you, to an agreement, but India, Japan, maybe some of Europe, he started on Canada again, but Canada and Mexico would be good to put some of this stuff aside. And this is the key, and this is really the takeaway. The uncertainty of the tariffs are going to be worse than the tariffs themselves. And so if we get through this as Americans, right, and we get through this tariff policy and we get some certainty, we then can move forward.
All right. Well, we will have you back in just a minute. We're going to take a quick break. Our guest is Dave Spano, who is the CEO and president of Annex Wealth Management. I have a question about two different of our favorite richest men for you, Dave, when we come back. This is Point Taken.
Want to stay up to date with the crew?
Cubs fans are booing as if that was intentional. The bases are loaded, nobody's out. And it was a slider. Come on.
Tune in to Brewers Extra Innings with Dominic Cotroneo after every game.
Humiliated. You got shut up by the White Sox, now by the Cubs. The fibs. Am I allowed to say that on the radio? Well, I just did. You can say anything once, in the words of Bob Uecker.
Or listen anytime on the Brewers All Access podcast feed. We are your home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi, Avon. I've talked about Avon for years now because it changed my life and it could change yours as well. I had all the things that you might be dealing with, tossing and turning, snoring. Are you keeping your bed partner awake all night? That doesn't have to be your reality. I did something about it, and just on that basis, I sleep better. I went to Abbott, 30-minute visit. I asked all my questions. They put me at ease. We did a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. Their answer was my problem, which was sinuses and nasal passage, and they fixed it for me. It's a short procedure, one of their offices. I sleep through the whole night. Uninterrupted sleep again last night. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Abbott can help you. I'm serious. It'll change your life and certainly your sleep life. You want to find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better? Do what I did. Go to AdventKnows.com and schedule an appointment today because Advent knows. I say this all the time, but I mean it. When you breathe well, you live better.
Now at Menards, save big on everything for your landscaping project. Whether you're shopping for edgers, pavers, or wall blocks, Menards has the largest in-stock selection of concrete landscape block ready to take home today. Plus, get fast free estimates when you use our landscape design program, available in-store and on Menards.com. Save big on landscape blocks when you shop at Menards. Also, check out the great deals from our weekly flyer on Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
Burkhardt Sporting Goods has a great reputation for producing custom team apparel. We're total team outfitters and we can handle the biggest jobs. Our success in custom team apparel led us into group and corporate apparel. Plus, we have a full selection of promotional products for employee gifts, special events, you name it. And we've made it easy for our customers to firm up their orders. The group sale web stores that we build for our customers are a simple way of gathering all the information you need. They're easy to work, easy to understand, and with them you'll have access to nearly limitless options. We've seen that most times we're better priced than our competition on the same high-quality apparel choices that the other guys offer. Plus Nike and Under Armour choices that the other guys can't get. And we offer a huge brand selection from Yeti, North Face, and Carhartt, too. This is Brian Burkhart. For team, group, or corporate custom outfitting and promotional products, it's going to be really hard to beat our prices, selection, and ease of buying for any size budget and every size company. And that's why we always say,
You can't beat Burkhart.
New Berlin and Fox Point.
Got local news coming up at the bottom with Connie Weber, of course, the latest from ABC. Dave Spano joining us from Annex Wealth Management. Kristin alluded to it before the break. I used that word a couple times today. I got to stop saying that. Big names in the finance world and the billionaire world. Certainly.
The billionaire world, for sure. Big news over the weekend at the Woodstock for Capitalists.
Were you there, Dave?
Yeah, were you there?
No, I was not. But I mean, Buffett has done so much for all of our financial planning, and some of the sayings he has are just fantastic. And again, relevant again. Unfortunately, at 90 plus years old, he's going to step aside.
Yeah. So at 94, after 60 years. Warren Buffett announced this weekend that he is retiring, which I think is probably well earned. And so I guess would you say this is someone who deserves the GOAT title? Is he someone who impacted your career at all?
For sure. Yeah, he's probably the GOAT. Yeah, that's number one. Obviously, he's very, very wealthy, number one. Number two is he has said so many things at the appropriate time. You know, he's got so many sayings. You know, the one that obviously got a lot of attention is, you'll remember this, Kristin, back in 2008 when the market was just melting down. We had this cascading failures of financial institutions. I used to come to the studio on Saturday mornings, and we'd read, what banks had failed. But anyways, he had written a article in the Wall Street Journal, and this saying has just gotten legs, is when folks are greedy, I'm forgetting the saying now. When folks are greedy, you have to get into the market, and when they're not greedy, you have to get away from the market.
Yeah.
So I'm slipping right now, but that is what you want to get to, and that is one of the things that he used to talk about. Is you have to look for fear, and when there's fear in the market, where there is right now, that's generally an opportunity to invest.
Well, there you go. Highly recommend Becoming Warren Buffett, which is an HBO documentary about him. And my other question...
I just came to me. When people are fearful, be greedy, and when they're greedy, be fearful.
There you go.
It is.
All right, my other question is thoughts on that Jeff Bezos, another very rich man, is planning to sell as much as $4.8 billion worth of Amazon stock. Do you have any comment on that or thoughts?
Well, there's probably some estate planning that's happening there, and I'm not surprised. When you look at how much he's worth, I mean, that's a small percentage, and folks have to do that. We talk about estate planning all the time, and you can create some liquidity during your lifetime as well, versus just having all those shares in your life. So I'm sure that's part of it. But there's lots of billionaires who make lots of news. Of course, your favorite, in fact, is Elon Musk. I mean, you'd probably rather have lunch with Beelzebub than get together with Elon Musk. But he's stepping aside too and going back to his day job. So there's a lot of things that are happening in the market that is going to give us some clarity as we get into the second half of the year. The things that you want to look for example, would be some tariff clarity. That's number one. Number two would be the tax policy. What's going to come out of that tax policy? Obviously, there's things in a tax policy that can set forth the way our priorities, and Democrats and Republicans and Independents priorities are all different. But look what comes out of that tax policy. That's number two. Number three, does the Fed do something, and are they too late to the party? Which they may be. Their history, Kristin, has been that they are too late to the party. And then number four is, what does the second half of the year look like for earnings? So we could be setting ourselves up for a better second half.
I said it at the beginning. I listened to most of the Money Talk program this weekend. It is one of the best sources for information about what's happening, many of the things we just talked about, but also setting your course for a successful future, whether it's financial planning or just understanding where your investments go. It is a great listen. It's available in the podcast. Real quick, Dave, because I asked you about this when we recorded the webinar not too long ago. You're coming on my podcast, right?
Whenever you want me.
Yeah,
friend.
because I want to talk about this Elon Musk thing that you sort of nudged me with before, because there's a lot of good material.
Was he
there.
nudging you or was he nudging me?
I don't know. I think he's nudging
Well,
both of us.
I was getting both of you. Well, you know what? By the way, no one asked me about. I gave you a biblical reference there with Beelzebub. No one asked me about books in the Bible. So,
well, plenty of fodder for the podcast. Dave will join me. Dave's a great guest always, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to make sure that he was part of our news show, Point Taken. Thanks as always, Dave Spano.
Yeah, you guys have a great show. Yeah,
absolutely.
You bet.
He's always got the wisdom. He always brings it, and that's one of the things I love about Dave, and why I wanted this segment to continue, because I had gotten away from that for a while. So, all right, we got local news with Connie Weber, the outstanding Connie Weber. Before we get to any of that, here's now the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Southern California, a frantic search for missing people on a suspected human smuggling boat.
We're told by the Coast Guard 3 people have been found dead, 9 more are unaccounted for, and there are 4 survivors who are getting medical care. It was a panga boat, the type of boat typically used for human and drug smuggling into San Diego County from Mexico. It came ashore just north of the city of San Diego in Del Mar. A search is underway now for the missing. Alex Stone, ABC News.
The Trump administration now offering to pay airfare and a $1,000 stipend to migrants willing to self-deport. They receive payment once their return is confirmed. Israel's security cabinet unanimously approving plans to occupy parts of Gaza indefinitely. It could push hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to the southern part of the Gaza Strip. In New York City, jury selection began today in the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. He has pleaded not guilty. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm Connie Weber. Milwaukee Public Schools has begun relocating students as part of its lead action plan. Starting today, West Side Academy students now attending Douglas Middle School. Brown Street School will follow. Students move May 12th, that is. The plan focuses on making older school buildings safer by addressing lead hazards like paint and dust. MPS says the relocations are temporary while crews work to stabilize the affected buildings. A 3-year-old girl is dead after being accidentally shot by a 7-year-old. Happened Saturday just before 4:30 p.m. at a home in the town of Crystal Lake. Marquette County Sheriff's Office says the children were playing. The boy got hold of an unsecured firearm. Drunk driver arrested in Mount Pleasant after crashing into a traffic sign. The crash happened Saturday around 2:30 a.m. near Green Bay Road and Northwestern Avenue. The driver was hurt. It was his 4th OWI offense. Time for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Right now, the markets are mixed. The Dow is up 90 points at 41,408. The Nasdaq is down 75 at 17,903. The S&P 500 is down 15 at 5,671. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We do have a new crash. This is going to be I-41 North at the ramp from Beloit Road. Right now that crash is blocking the left lane. Again, I-41 North at the ramp from Beloit Road. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. After isolated showers this morning, some afternoon sunshine, highs 53 to 61, and an overnight low tonight 45. Partly cloudy tomorrow with highs in the mid-60s to lower 70s. Partly sunny Wednesday, highs 56 to 66. Thursday, mostly sunny, high 53 lakeside, 62 inland. And Friday, sunny skies with highs in the lower to upper 60s. 57 in Madison, 59 in Green Bay, 53 in Waukesha, and in Milwaukee we have 50 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:33.
Jake suffered with carpal tunnel syndrome.
Tingling, numbness in my hands and fingers, not sleeping well at night, tossing and turning, trying to manage with pain pills and stretching, and it just wasn't helping.
He didn't want the traditional invasive carpal tunnel surgery.
I had seen people with bandages and scars and clubs for hands. I just don't have time to be incapable of doing things for 6 to 8 to 10 weeks.
Then he learned about the Ovation Hand Institute and the Ovation Technique, an ultra minimally invasive procedure done in the office.
I wanted to get it looked at sooner than later. So I had the virtual consult. It was very thorough as far as like I was sitting in a doctor's office. I was booked for the procedure 2 weeks later, had my right hand done. Very quick procedure. It was really great. That very night when I went home, it was the first time in probably 3 months my hand did not wake me up.
Book an appointment with the Ovation Hand Institute and find out if you're a candidate for the Ovation Technique.
Probably the most surprising thing was how quickly I was able to do things again. I'm cooking dinner, I'm doing yard work and all that kind of stuff the next day.
Visit ovationhand.com. ovationhand.com.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself, but she's not following your directions?
Sit. Sit.
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Forget average. At Exterior Pros, they bring the heat. They're not here to meet standards, they're here to smash them. From the first swing of the hammer to the final reveal, they're leveling up your home with every window, every shingle, and every single detail. This isn't just a remodel, it's a glow up for your house. Built tough, built beautiful, built to turn heads. Want in? Let's go. Lock in your project now and save $3,000. Exterior Pros, where bold meets built. Trust the pros and visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey. He is Steve Scaffidi. And you like SNL, right?
Huge fan. That's why one of the reasons I have Christian Snyder on, because he's an expert on SNL. He can tell me all the things I missed over the 50-plus years that it's been on.
Oh, yeah. So, sometimes their cold open is hit or miss. But I have to say that their cold open from this weekend made me chuckle.
This order would reduce the number of interracial couples in TV commercials.
It's just too many, right? You see them in the kitchen together making meal from HelloFresh. He's wearing loafers, she's got tight braids. You're like, where'd they meet, you know? What do they even talk about? It's insane.
Well done, sir.
So the bit being, a lot of executive orders. And it's like, oh, this is what you're hung up on?
Yeah, and you may say, oh, that's just them having fun. But, I mean, this is a president who probably at some point is going to, I don't know if it's an executive order yet, but he wants to bring back Alcatraz.
That was as someone who has toured Alcatraz. I did the night tour. Did you ever do the night tour when you lived in San Francisco?
It was daytime.
It's a little creepy at night.
I can imagine. First of all.
And cold.
Yeah, so if you don't know, it's sitting there. It's an island of rock, basically, and there's this old prison on, famously in the, 30s and 40s.
Mm-hmm. It's been closed for 46
years. It's a tourist location.
Now it's a tourist. Yeah, it brings like $60 million in of tourism for San Francisco.
I'm not a construction person, but legitimately to bring that back to like full maximum security prison status would be like billions of dollars. I mean, this is not something that would be easy. Just the transportation, getting people back and forth is not easy.
Well, so that wasn't actually an executive order, and this doesn't. I don't think this is an executive order yet, although it may be as far as the movie industry goes. So this was...
Yeah, I saw that.
Was this morning or yesterday morning?
I think it was a Truth Social post by the president.
So he has authorized a tariff on movies made outside of the U.S. It was yesterday evening. He said on Truth Social, the movie industry in America is dying a very fast death. And then he's authorizing Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. Now, I don't know exactly what this means, but the market reacted. Like different studio stocks fell when he sent this out.
Of course, yeah.
I just don't know how what gets tariffed when the movie comes here? Is it the ticket sales? Or is it the distribution? Like, what part of the process?
There must be some licensing that has to happen for a foreign film to come here. I don't know. But that's the thing.
Is it the fact, it's not just foreign films, it's movies that are American filmmakers, but because it's tax incentives are easier to film it somewhere else, does that include it?
One of the most famous films of all time, series of films, Star Wars, much of that was filmed in like Tunisia and other places. So
really, back then it was.
Oh yeah,
I thought a lot of that still in the soundstage.
No, in England and Tunisia and other exotic locales and deserts across the world. So I'm not sure. This is another example, and I know people hate when I say this, so save the texts and emails, of a idea not well thought out. It just comes to him late at night, or I don't know when this was released on Truth Social, but just a dumb idea. What's the problem you're fixing here? You don't like Hollywood, so you're going to try to penalize them? Is that what you're trying to do here? Because
it seems like he does like Hollywood.
I don't know that he does.
That you would want more, because this is not. It's not a. I don't know how you actually implement tariffs on foreign films. But this is a problem when you think about the vitality of Los Angeles, in that the amount, how expensive it is to make TV shows and films in Los Angeles is through the roof. And this is a conversation that goes back to Create Action Wisconsin.
Right.
When we didn't talk about it in this show, we talked about it on Spanning the State,
right.
Which is Wisconsin is one of the very few states that no longer gives any kind of tax incentives for films and TV crews to film here. And there's a group that wants to do that. But a lot of states now provide that, and so it's a lot cheaper to film outside of California or potentially outside of the U.S.
But correct me if I'm wrong. That's not what he's saying. He's not saying incentivize more productions here. He's just talking about some impact on foreign films.
Is that what he's saying?
Yes. Because I'm reading this thing. I don't see anything in there about incentivizing people to record their movies, film their movies in places like Wisconsin or Pennsylvania or pick a locale, pick a state. I think a texter makes the best point. And I got to apologize because this is skimming pretty fast. Don't feel bad, Kristin. Trump doesn't know either. It's just the ramblings of an old lunatic. Yeah, that's in your world, maybe some of you, that's Trump derangement syndrome, or is it just me saying this is a really dumb idea?
I mean, do we have to at least, before we have to at least talk about the fact that he doesn't know whether or not he's going to uphold the Constitution, right?
Yeah, that's another development this weekend.
So if you missed it, President Trump did little to quiet critics, warning of a constitutional crisis in an exclusive interview with Meet the Press that aired on Sunday, specifically when he was asked about being obligated to uphold the Constitution.
I was elected to get him the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
But even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said.
All right. First of all, air quote brilliant as far as his lawyers, but at this point, as we go to break, you're not the one person who gets to decide all of this. This is a country where we have freedoms and we certainly have courtrooms and our Constitution. And frankly, the easy answer to that question that you were asked, just thrown by Kristen Welker, the easy answer to that question is yes.
It was in the oath, right?
Yes.
Is
yes.
that why he didn't put his hand on the Bible?
Maybe he's playing that game where I didn't really touch it, so I don't have to say that. Yeah, the answer to that question is yes. Quick break on Point Taken on 620 WTMJ.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I'm the football guy, definitely not the outdoor home projects guy. So when it comes to things like deck building, Excel Custom Decks is the true go-to expert. Family owned and operated, Excel Custom Decks uses the finest materials and products and combines that with superior craftsmanship. If you want your outdoor area to shine this summer, contact Excel Custom Decks now. Whatever you dream up for that perfect deck, pergola, or outdoor kitchen, Rob and his family can build it. Excel Custom Decks, decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com today.
Okay, adventurers, listen up. Fox World Travel just dropped some seriously incredible Fox Group vacation destinations for 2026. Set sail on a yacht through the Croatian coastline, join a thrilling African safari, or immerse yourself in the mecca of all flower shows in London. And for the first time, we're introducing a woman's-only tour, partnering with Insight Vacations, Globus, and African Travel. But these are just a few of the exclusive offerings. But don't wait. They're filling up fast. Call 866-GO-FOX-GO to reserve your spot today.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days because most banks still issue pre-approval letters without actually verifying your income, employment, or down payment. That's the exact opposite of an Accunet rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval, where we put a $2,000 guarantee behind the fact the seller can actually rely on the terms of your pre-approval and offer. With Accunet, there's also a possibility of issuing a property-specific pre-approval with as little as a 10% down payment that includes the magic words, no appraisal required. That's right, Accunet may be able to issue your pre-approval without needing an appraisal. That's the kind of certainty that can help a seller say yes to your offer. Sure, you can try competing with a flimsy bank pre-approval, or you can click on the blue button at Accunet.com and get started with the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as the best in the business. That's ACCUNET.com.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. For more than 8 years, QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. You heard that right, non-surgical relief. More than 50,000 patients who had knee pain, back pain, now living pain-free. Those with shoulder and hip pain, it's gone. The regenerative cell therapy restores tissues in your achy joints. Dr. Caravelli's team uses biologic growth factors with robust healing properties carefully and strategically placed in your joint. And there's no surgery. Remember that. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life, repairing the old tissue. Here's what you do. You call today, 414-285-3474, 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Thank you, Milwaukee, for making the original Botanas the best Mexican restaurant for 25 years. Celebrate Botanas anniversary during Cinco de Mayo, May 4th and 5th, with authentic Mexican dishes, cervezas, margaritas, and a mariachi band. 5th Street, just south of National.
Welcome back to Point Taken, Kristin and Steve. One of the big things that's happening right now is my salute to service. Thanks to the folks at Waterstone Bank. We're going to bring you this week some of our previous honorees. This is a great story. Washington County Sheriff Tyler Lallier, I think is how you say his last name, and his wife Elizabeth, who nominated him. Tremendous feature. This is it.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Lallier, and I'm nominating my husband Tyler for the Salute to Service Award.
Hi, I'm Tyler Lallier. I am a detective for the Washington County Sheriff's Office. 18 years this last April.
I nominated him because I really appreciate how hard he works. He puts his heart and soul into work, but he's still able to come home at the end of the day and be a husband and dad. We make it work.
How do the kids feel about all of that?
The oldest, he's just super proud. He understands. He's 15. He understands the type of work that Tyler's doing. The younger ones, they just think Dad's cool. He's a hero. He puts bad guys in jail. But you can tell that they think it's awesome. And I can tell when he's had a bad day. A bad day for him looks a lot different than a bad day for me at work. I try to be supportive, and sometimes I don't even know how to do that because he can't always talk about what he's doing and seeing at work.
It's large for any department. Any individual detective, they have a bunch of cases. You have to figure out and prioritize what's important that day, who can you help, and what can you accomplish.
Well, you worked on a case involving human trafficking of children.
There's different kinds of cyber tips that come in to law enforcement regarding inappropriate content regarding children. This is one of those where an individual was suspected of possessing videos of children.
Child abuse case in Washington County leads to arrests overseas. 35-year-old Michael Westfall was arrested last July and remains in custody on $5,000 bond. Prosecutors say Westfall was communicating with a sex trafficker in the Philippines and was paying money for videos of a young boy being assaulted. This led to an investigation between U.S. and Philippine officials. They say a raid was just carried out this week, leading to 3 arrests and the rescue of 6 children.
This is one of those things that impacts every community, and nobody really knows about it on the forefront because it's just something that's done behind computer screens, and it's involving all the kids throughout the world. There's a large majority of our cases are sensitive crime style cases regarding children.
In this recent case, he was spending his entire day going through phones and computers, watching videos, looking at pictures of some of the most horrible things you could imagine and probably can't even imagine.
You have to have a good foundation, whether that be friends or family, because you're going to need support through this. If you're one of those people that holds everything in, it's going to be tough. So it's nice to have a great wife, a great family, a great work family to be able to bounce things off, to be successful.
It takes a really, really strong head, mental strength to do the things that first responders do, and especially detectives and investigators, special agents. They're digging really deep. They're working behind the scenes. I'm glad they're there doing it because it's hard work. But I'm really proud of him. His family's proud of him. His mom, his dad, our whole family. We're very proud of him, and we're glad that he's doing what he does. He's good at it.
When I say the word salute to service, what does that mean to you?
I guess acknowledging and recognizing the people behind the scenes that sacrifice a piece of themselves for the greater good. It's tough. I like staying behind the scenes. It's tough to talk about this kind of stuff, but I work with great people who I consider to be heroes. There are people that make the ultimate sacrifice. From the patrol up to the detective bureau to the court service, everybody in Washington County is great. So a salute to this is just a good nod.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi talking about Milwaukee weight loss. So many people have come up to me and say, "Oh, how'd you lose the weight?" I go, Milwaukee weight loss. As easy as that. I've been on this journey for 3+ months now and still I'm at my low, and I have been right around 40 pounds lost. It's the secret to losing a pound of fat every day, at least in the reduction phase. Their doctors developed an easy-to-follow weight loss program, and I can follow it. You can. It helps you lose weight fast, naturally, safely, no drugs, no injections with the risk of serious side effects, no gimmicky things like meals, bars, and shakes. You don't even have to exercise if you don't want to. I just light walk somewhere around 10,000 steps a day. Their program helps reset your metabolism. That's the key. So you can keep the weight off for good with a coach. Mine's Emily. They're all outstanding at Milwaukee Weight Loss. And here's the big thing. It costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most of the other programs. You go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com, schedule your free consultation. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds. As I said, I've lost about 40. Look at me. I'm a success story. You can be too. It's crazy to watch your body lose that weight. Here's what you got to do. Don't wait. Call today, 262-449-1180, or go online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Kohl's, and the Memorial Day savings have arrived early at Kohl's. They're giving all of our valued listeners, like you, exclusive access to their Friends and Family pricing event. It's something they've never done before. Shop Kohl's Friends and Family pricing store-wide. Save 65% on furniture and mattresses, sofas, sectionals, dining tables, bedroom sets, mattresses, everything. I just shopped Kohl's, just got great deals, incredible customer service, and if you're shopping for appliances, take an extra 5% off. Extra 5% at Kohl's. You can shop all of your favorite appliance brands in-store or online. It's the Friends and Family pricing sale. Plus, they make it easy with 60 months financing. Exclusive savings won't last forever. Don't miss Kohl's Memorial Day Early Access Friends and Family sale. It ends Monday, May 5th. Shop at 4 convenient locations: West Dallas, Delafield, Oak Creek, Grafton. It's where I shop. Or browse online at Kohl's.com.
Step up to quality furniture. Get more for your money at Kohl's.
Ready for more fun, more friendships, and more adventures? Then it's time to become a Girl Scout. With their extended year membership, join for just $98, adults for $42, and enjoy up to 5 extra months of fun starting now. Visit girlscouts.org and join the adventure today.
Maybe you don't need a new garage door. You just need to keep the door you love looking good and functioning well. Vince Vitrano for Lifetime Door Company, where they're always available to service your existing door. In the meantime, some tips from Rick Burr at Lifetime. Do not use a pressure washer on that door. It can damage the finish and paint. Do not remove parts for cleaning. Leave that to the experts. Do use a silicone-based lubricant 4 times a year. And if you need a can, stop by the showroom at 124th and Burleigh. Tell them Vinny sent you, and they'll give you one for free. LifetimeDoor.net.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
I like my eggs over easy. I'm hungry.
Did you not have breakfast?
No. I did have a protein shake, which, good on the protein, but boy, it still makes you hungry. Just random.
Does that make you think of this song? Or what?
Any way you want it.
Oh.
Yes. So you got to think, there's
saying.
layers to my complexity. Or lack thereof.
Oh, the connection.
Yeah.
Word association. All right. You mentioned that I I won a WBA over the weekend for
very
Best Online
cool.
Personality,
Congratulations.
which was very exciting. But also, producer Jaslyn won one as well. So you won one. Which promo did you win it for?
Oh, it was for my season primer for the Brewer season.
Oh,
had a little bit of every one of the people we have on the call, and Bob Uecker, which was especially permanent.
Congrats!
Yeah,
Thank you.
Well deserved. That's always a
exciting.
big deal for those folks who go to. I've been on a couple of them. It's a long program.
I went last year.
3 hours plus.
And was not able to go this year. But, it's a fun industry event to see other people. Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's long, but I've gone clean shaven and come out of that thing with a full beard.
Dun-dun-dun. All right. Well, other
we got time yet.
than that,
2
we still have
minutes.
time. Yeah. But there was, it is also Teacher Appreciation Week.
Which I love because, as you know, I'm married to
You
a
were
teacher.
married to a teacher. Who was your teacher that you always call out that changed your life?
Miss Adi.
Yeah.
Yeah. She encouraged me to do more public speaking and not be afraid of my voice, which some of those texters today said, oh, I wish she wouldn't have existed.
It's like, oh, man.
God, what did she unleash on us? But, she encouraged me, which is one of the best things you can do as a teacher. Not only they teach you, but they encourage you to be a better version of yourself. That's awesome.
Oh, man, I want to open a can of worms so badly right now that we don't have time for.
Yeah.
Because you were saying this morning as far as how students should only be learning the basics.
You love that topic
and
so much.
that is your conservative view on if they can't do the other things, they should just be doing arithmetic and reading. Where does motivation and encouragement come into that school day?
You can still motivate and encourage someone teaching them the basic things that all of us.
But then if there's no public teaching class, they're public speaking classes because they have to be focused on the basics.
The idea of what I have suggested, which I have no illusions ever going to, be put forward in a serious way, is that you give them the goal of doing just enough to get what they need in those areas, and then they can aspire to take all the other classes that are so interesting and useful. I think that's part of the fun of it for me. It's a different way of looking at education, which I don't know if you want to argue this point, but I think that's what we have to start doing because what we're doing ain't working.
We will put a pin in it because we do not have time to argue it right now. But it is Teacher Appreciation Week, so thank a teacher this week in your life or your kids' teachers. And we'll be back tomorrow to do this all over again. Josh Showman is going to be joining us to talk about his campaign launch. And news is next.
Vince Vitrano here for Connect Chiropractic. Get your aches and pains under control. But not only that, regular care with Connect